When someone says the word superhero, there's a good chance you just thought of Superman. Superman is an absolute icon. Most people will remember the character from the classic Superman film starring Christopher Reeves. Superman has all kinds of movies, TV series, merchandise, and video games. Just about everyone in America has heard of him. While many of us love Superman, have you noticed that this generation hasn't seemed to embrace him as much as previous generations? Back in 2018, we had 9 live-action superhero films in theaters. You'd think that The Man of Steel would be at the height of his popularity right now. However, modern audiences have been going through a Superman problem. Writers today struggle to keep the character relatable, interesting, and relevant. Honestly, Superman is a boring character by today's standards, and here's why. One of the biggest glaring issues with Superman is his superpowers. He has flight, super speed, super strength, X-ray vision, heat vision, invulnerability, and many more. These powers are one of the biggest contributing factors to Superman's failure to attract a modern audience. All of these powers and abilities make humans look small and weak compared to him. That causes a major problem with writers. Audiences today don't like it when their heroes have no problems. They want to be able to relate to their heroes. Joe and Anthony Russo, the directors of Avengers: Infinity War and Endgame, both understood this. They were asked in an interview with Business Insider about heroes with too much power. This is what they had to say. The more powerful a character is, the more difficult to deal with that character on a narrative level, Anthony Russo said. As storytellers, and the way we explore characters, we always look for vulnerabilities in characters because that's where characters become interesting. They're superficially interesting in their strength, but they get much more depth when you find where they don't have that kind of strength. In general, the more powerful a character is, the more tricky that is. The interviewer then specifically mentioned Superman, to which they responded, yeah, exactly. He's a very difficult character. You have to find an emotional flaw or weakness in the character in order to make them vulnerable. Therefore, if only other superpowered aliens can put up a good fight with Superman, that makes his fights a lot more boring. Many writers tried to change Superman to make him more appealing by altering his fundamentals, such as in the Injustice video game and comic books. That story shows the Joker drugging Superman with Scarecrow's fear toxin and has him kill Lois Lane, who is pregnant with his child, and in doing so, exploding a warhead in Metropolis. Superman confronts Joker in jail and kills him. Afterwards, a newly evil Superman becomes the president of a One Earth government. We also see something similar in the Amazon Prime series The Boys, in which the villain is a Superman-like hero named Homelander. Homelander is a prime example of what Superman's powers without accountability looks like. But these versions don't stay true to the character. Superman is supposed to stand for truth, justice, and the American way. So, if this is what our Superman problem looks like, how can we fix it? Batman. Or more specifically, Batman's dynamic with Superman. Batman is a character who has been around for almost as long as Superman, and yet has stood the test of time. Superman can benefit in many ways from Batman. Let's take a look at what makes Batman such a successful character. Batman has taken all different shapes and forms since his creation in 1939. He's been a dark vigilante, a light-hearted crime fighter, a darker, more violent vigilante, and so on. In all of these different phases, Batman has more or less stayed true to who he is as a character, and stuck to who Batman is at the core. It's been said that a hero is only as good as his villains. Batman, debatably, has the best rogues gallery out of all comic book superheroes. His arch-nemesis, the Joker, is often considered the greatest comic book villain of all time. Batman's villains each cause him to utilize different parts of his skill set. For example, the Riddler causes him to use his intellect, Bane causes him to use his physical strength, Two-Face and Black Mask cause him to use his detective skills and criminal knowledge, and the Joker causes him to use his morality. This is partly what makes Batman so great. Superman does not have good villains. He isn't often challenged in such dynamic ways. It usually comes down to whoever has the most power, and that is almost always Superman. So, how can Batman help Superman's villains become more interesting? Batman needs to defeat Superman in a fight. Batman and Superman are great friends. They trust each other. But their friendship is very interesting. Batman knows that Superman is the most dangerous person alive. This dynamic has so much potential in Superman's benefit. If Batman is forced to fight Superman and is capable of beating him, Superman becomes weaker. In order to understand this and why it's so important, we need to take a look at the psychology of both Batman and Superman. By using the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or MBTI, we can break down their personality types. The MBTI takes one's personality and translates it into different personality types made out of 4 letters. According to CBR.com, Superman's MBTI type is an ISFJ, while Batman's is an INTJ. The most important difference between the two are Batman's T and Superman's F. They stand for thinking and feeling. When making decisions, Batman tends to base his on logic and reason. Superman tends to base his on how his emotions are leading him. If you're a fan of literary analysis, you could also look at it like this. Batman uses logos, the appeal to logic, to make decisions, whereas Superman uses pathos, the appeal to emotion, to make decisions. If we go back to the previously mentioned Injustice video game and comic book, the Joker even makes a joke about this dynamic right before Superman kills him out of anger.
That's why I like you, Superman. You're much more gullible than...
He let his emotions get the better of him. Batman has been through similar circumstances. In the comic story and animated movie adaptation, Batman the Killing Joke, the Joker point-blank shoots Batgirl in the spine, paralyzing her from the waist down. Then he goes on to kidnap and torture Batman's good friend, Commissioner Jim Gordon. In the final confrontation, Batman forgives the Joker and shows sympathy by saying,
I don't want to hurt you. I don't want either of us to end up killing the other. But we're running out of alternatives. Perhaps it all hinges on tonight. I don't know what it was that bent your life out of shape, but maybe I've been there too. Maybe we could work together. I could rehabilitate you. You don't need to be alone. We don't have to kill each other. Let me help you.
Batman is more easily able to put aside his emotions. This could create plenty of conflict that writers could use in order to force Batman and Superman into a fight. A fight such as this would go a long way in fixing Superman's villain problem. Batman is human. He has no superpowers at all. If he is capable of defeating Superman, that also makes Superman's human enemies capable of defeating him, such as Lex Luthor, Toyman, Parasite, and Prankster, would all be major threats to the Man of Steel, making Superman more vulnerable. Sadly, DC Comics has not utilized these aspects to their full potential. Batman has fought fights with Superman in the past and has won, but those fights never hold any long-term effects on these characters. If the writers at DC would take this dynamic more seriously, it could go a long way in fixing their Superman problem. In summary, people don't love Superman like they used to. By today's standards, he's overpowered and unrelatable. Most writers have a hard time making him compelling without being untrue to the character, and he has no good villains. Focusing on how Batman has succeeded and applying it to Superman's creative weaknesses by allowing Batman to defeat Superman in a battle that mattered would go a long way in fixing DC's Superman problem. Hopefully one day Superman will return to his former glory and we'll see him rock the silver screen in future films.